Hey guys, it's Jesse from Central Athlete. I want to talk to you a little bit about time-restricted eating. So first, what is it? Time-restricted eating is essentially where we are condensing the window where we're going to get food into our bodies. This can be anywhere from a 12-hour period to a 4-hour period. There's multiple studies with all sorts of different trade-offs and benefits and pros and cons. It should be noted, however, that time-restricted eating is in humans, which is different than time-restricted feeding, which is usually in mice, and we have studies from that as well. So the data that's out there, I have one study that shows that 11-hour fast can lower the rate of breast cancer for females by up to 36%. So there seems to be some longevity benefits and some health benefits for this. Additionally, there was a time-restricted feeding, so this was again in mice, where mice were fed, I believe it was an 11-hour feeding window, and there was benefits for the mice with pre-existing obesity as well as type 2 diabetes. These saw the halt of the progression of those diseases and actually a little bit of regression with that. But the most interesting study that we were able to find was a time-restricted eating where 34 resistance-trained males underwent a restricted feeding window where the test group was fed at 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m., and then the control group was fed at 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and 8 p.m. So really the only difference is there was a meal in the morning for one group, and then there was a meal kind of in the afternoon time for their first meal. And they had pretty remarkable differences. The time-restricted feeding group maintained lean body mass, but saw what the study said was a significant fat mass decrease. As well, there were different health biomarkers that improved as well, so this kind of ties back into some longevity benefits. However, it should be noted that in the study, it cited that testosterone and IGF-1 significantly decreased. So there are some trade-offs here. This is something that we deal with a lot, though, is that this is just something that's out there that people talk about. It's something that has been talked about in New York Times, Entrepreneur Magazine. A lot of strength and conditioning professionals are really putting this stuff out there, but for me, it's one of those stage 4 changes. So who is this applicable for? I would want to make sure that this client has mastered the fundamentals first. Do they consistently eat protein? Are they drinking enough water? Are they consistently moving every day? Do they get sunlight? From there, have they undergone some carb experimentation? Have they played with fats? Have they played with different timing? Have they played with post-workout strategies? These are all things that have a host of information and a host of benefits, and sometimes we forget about the things that have stood the test of time and the principles that have really outlasted some of these newer studies that have come out. It seems to have some benefit with potential strength training athletes, but it depends what you define a strength athlete as. So somebody who is trying to maintain a high level of strength and make sure that body composition is maintained, is in check. So wrestlers, MMA fighters, rock climbers, this could potentially apply to, as well as people who already have a healthy body composition. So I don't know that this would be something that would have a benefit for somebody who is largely obese, because that person would benefit from a lot of the fundamental practices of water, movement, sunlight, low stress, sleeping enough. And some of the minutia for this, though, is that this has to be, sometimes people don't do this quite correctly. So they'll wake up in the morning and then they'll have some sort of coffee. Well, you have to understand that although you have abstained from food, the caffeine actually registers in the body as having some compounds in there that stimulate different metabolic processes, specifically in the liver, that will interrupt the fast. So it literally needs to be water up until whenever you would have your first meal. And the second thing is, we recommend that people start, if this is something that would be a good good strategy for you, is start with a 12-hour fast. So that might be just eating from 8 a.m. in the morning and then shutting it down at 8 p.m. at night. Now that doesn't seem like really an odd thing to do. It actually seems like a normal day, and you actually may already be having and implementing a 12-hour restricted feeding window. From there, we would just encourage you to remove an hour at a time and see how your body responds. Done consistently, that's how you're going to see if this makes some changes. So again, time restricted feeding, or eating. This is a higher level change for some people, but something that could be played with for certain scenarios. Check it out. Let us know what you think, and stay shredded, my friends.